always remember the amazing friendships I made and the amazing teachers I had as well.
I said I'd always remember, walking out on Friday or Thursday and just, going under the lights, being on the field, playing with my buddies.
I'll always remember all the teachers who helped me and all the ladies too.
I'll always remember that one time Long Beach Leche had a whole concert at the school during lunch.
I will always remember my friends and the memories I made here.
I will always remember the teachers, all my friends, and all the fun activities we had, all the dances. Very great, and I love them very much.
I will always remember the long nights of Tech Week throughout the years at the Thunderbird Theater.
Honestly, I'll remember the people. I've met some amazing friends here, and honestly, I couldn't have asked for anyone better to go through my high school journey with.
Mr. Pitcher.
Yeah, Pitcher. Hi, Mr. Pitcher.
Always remember all my friends, all the memories that we made here, and especially winning league as a basketball team member.
I will remember the amazing people and the fun classes that I had.
I will always remember walking around campus with my best friends during late night rehearsals.
My favorite memory by far is senior year, bringing my Xbox 360 in the student store.
I'll always remember all the fun trips that I went on in choir and being a guest appearance as the Pope in Sound of Music and my role as Ryan in High School Musical.
I always remember about YHS is this game club because I always love tabletop games.
Something I'll always remember about YHS is me sitting in the car with my friends in the morning before school.
There was this one time this kid was playing Friday Night Funkin' in the library, and I started clapping, and the whole library started clapping. I think I'm always going to remember that.
All my friends.
I'll always remember YHS as my high school specifically, and all the fun times I've had in fire science.
I always remember fire science and having fun and doing ropes and using the hose.
What I always remember about YHS is like being always being late to like my classes and stuff.
I will remember my friends filming Thunderstruck at the beach and Mr. Strickland showing us his Fortnite clips.
The night in the trenches that happened, I think, the 2 years I was here.
What I always remember is the football games Friday nights. That's really fun.
I'll always remember the people at YHS, and I'll always remember all the friends I made along the way.
I will remember all the great friends that I met and all of the teachers that I met as well.
I remember my friends and my teachers that have helped me along the way of getting to where I am now.
I will always remember all my friends and all my teachers, and I'll remember my AP Lit class and Glizzy's on Fridays.
I'll always remember the wonderful teachers and students here and the theater program and just everybody that helped me discover who I was and what I wanted to do with my life.
I'll always remember my friends that I made throughout my 4 years and all my teachers that helped me.
I'll always remember how YHS helped me rediscover my passion for being on stage and bringing so many different people into my life. I'll always remember my freshman year.
Prom, video production, Thunderstruck, and best buddies.
Eddie Tovar.
I'm always going to remember Mr. Mobley's garlic bread, Ed, seeing as, he makes it for me every day when at lunch, and it's awesome.
I will always remember my teachers, especially my history teachers.
I'll always remember the quad events and Halloween when I dressed up as Nacho Libre with that fat suit.
I will always remember my water polo career and how far my team has gone.
I will always remember the HBS Academy I was in and the leadership team and all the clubs I was involved in on campus.
I'll always remember my friends and family, the people who got me through my high school, everyone who's been really sweet to me.
I'll always remember the good memories and my friends. And I'll remember the same.
I will always remember about football stuff and walking to campus.
I'll always remember the wrestling team. They're really good. We went Division I and Division II, and I think Division I again. My 3 years of wrestling.
One thing I will always remember is hanging out at Mr. Paul's Quick Shout Games Club and just playing all the different games he has, just having a really good time there and stuff like that.
I will always remember eating lunch with my amazing girlfriend on the red curb.
I will always remember AP Lit.
I'll always remember homecoming. That was always really fun.
I'll always remember all the fun I had emceeing rallies with my good friend Chandler Blankenship when I got to be the Commissioner of Spirit for 2 years. And I will also always remember the memories that I made with my water polo teammates, some of the best that I've ever had in my whole life. So thank you guys.
I'd say I'd like to be remembered as someone who is like dependable, who you can call if you need any help, a shoulder to lean on.
I would always want to be remembered as the kid who started an animated YouTube channel and wanted to make people laugh.
The buff guy.
I would like to be remembered as someone who always put myself out there and got involved.
Personally, I'd like to be remembered as Mr. President, as some of you know me by. But honestly, I like the guy who got things done.
Being a part of the first basketball team to win league since 1971. As someone who never gave up on what they wanted to do.
I'd like to be remembered at YHS as someone who was always nice.
As the classiest student on campus.
I like to be remembered by being the girl that face planted when the cheerleaders were running down to the end zone at the Ukaipa versus Citrus Valley football game. We were all running down and I face planted as soon as we got to the end zone. So really embarrassing, but it's okay.
I'm going to be remembered as Batman. I would always dress up at the 80s dances or anything, any excuse to wear that.
I like to be remembered as that one short, buff kid that was super Christian and just a good inspiration for other kids.
I like to be remembered as the kid who had fun in every class and always made people laugh.
I'll always want to be remembered as the girl who had Red Bull every day and just a kind friend to all.
I like to be remembered as Gummies.
I would like to be remembered as being kind and for my outfits.
The girl that always brought her iced coffee and never finished it.
Someone you could always talk to.
A funny guy, I guess.
Just a kid that's played football, good at track, and just overall a good person.
I like to be remembered as the guy who doesn't skimp portions at Chipotle. Come by for maybe like 1.5 chicken.
Having too many vintage shirts.
As the one guy that was just fun to be around.
Just a cool person.
I would like to be remembered as the girl that always changed her hair like every week.
I would like to be remembered just as someone who was a friend to everyone and someone who's approachable and friendly.
As a silly, goofy guy.
I'd like to be remembered for basically being the one kid who tried to never get it into any drama, but then got drawn into drama and basically he had issues, but it would overcome them.
I would like to be remembered as probably the kid who always answers the history questions unlike anybody else.
I want to be remembered as a guy that was nice to people and cared, but tried to be silly sometimes, and maybe it didn't work. Maybe I wasn't as funny as I thought, but I always try to make people happy.
I would like to be remembered at YHS as someone who was kind and helpful to those around me.
I'd like to be remembered as someone who's resilient and someone who worked for the place that they're in now.
I would like to be known to be in the community, especially the HBS Academy and everything I've done for it.
I would like to be remembered as a good friend and just a nice person.
After when I graduate, I would always like to remember talking to people.
I would like to be remembered however people want to remember me. Like, if you remember me as just some guy who walked around and just passed by you on the day-to-day like that, that's fine. If you remember me for what I told, for like making you laugh or something like that, remember me however you want, honestly. That's just the summary.
I would like to be remembered from YHS as a chill guy.
I would like to be remembered as a good student.
You know, just for being like low-key chill like that.
I want to be a stylish fella. You're not a stylish fella.
Welcome to your life. There's no turning back.
I plan on continuing my football career at San Bernardino Valley College.
My plans for the future is to go into the Army because they promised me a Camaro ZL1 with 1,000% APR, only paying it off for 1,000 months, and after that, 4 years in the military, go use a GI Bill in UTI and learn diesel, and then probably just going to work at a shop after that.
Well, my plans for the future are to go to Crafton Hills College, get a degree in theater or animation, and just kind of continue working on my YouTube channel.
My plans for the future is just to play as much Roblox as I can and get a job somewhere, anywhere.
I plan to attend Cal State Fullerton, majoring in history and hopes to become a history teacher.
In the Air Force, I'm going to be a pararescueman. Super excited about that. And then after, I might fly commercial, not sure which airline, but probably Southwest.
Firefighting and getting more crappy cars. I want to be a bad influencer. I want to learn how to kickflip.
Fight fire.
I plan on attending U of R and studying music and getting my teaching credentials there and becoming a high school music teacher.
My plans for the future are to go to Asbury University in Kentucky and major in equine assisted services.
I'm going to Cal State San Bernardino and I'm going to major in entrepreneurship.
Going to the Air Force, come out not crazy, and then move to Jamaica and retire.
I'm going to go to college, become an anesthesiologist.
My plans for the future are to go into the Navy and be a U.S. Navy sailor.
I want to do Marine Corps, and then after the Marine Corps, become a cop.
To serve in the U.S. Navy while also working to get a degree in social work to help children as a social worker.
My plans for the future are to go to Colorado State and major in mechanical engineering.
I'm going to attend the University of Redlands to study their pre-med program. Then after, I hopefully would like to attend a medical school because I want to be a doctor in anesthesiology.
In the future, I plan to continue my schooling and hopefully become a child psychologist.
For my future, I want to go to Crafton Hills College first to get my associate's degree as a major in multiple sciences. And with those prerequisites, I would like to go to Loma Linda University to get my bachelor's degree and their sonography program.
Going to college for mathematics and statistics, and we'll see from there.
My plans for the future are to attend RCC for cosmetology or journalism, media, and culture.
In the future, I'm going to become a biomedical engineer, and I'm going to go to UCR.
My plans for the future is to become a historian of some sort and go to Crafton and then see whatever else after that.
Join the military.
Be a football coach.
Just attend Crafton Hills College and become a firefighter.
I want to become a history professor.
Become a business major and probably open up a body shop or something.
I'm going to Crafton Hills College and then I'm transferring to San Jose State University to study biology so I can become a forensic scientist.
I'm planning on attending Cal Poly Pomona and majoring in graphic design and starting my own photography business.
I plan to become a pilot. Plans for the future is joining the U.S. Marines and then after 4 years join MARSOC, which is the special operations for the Marines. And after that, after I do 20 years, I will be attending college to get a math degree to become a math teacher, possibly at a high school in California.
My plans for the future are to go to Crafton and major in theater to be an actor or director. I also want to transfer and go to some other college I haven't decided and study sociology, psychology, and communications to be a child life specialist, a parent educator, or a child therapist and see where life takes me from there.
To play college basketball.
My plans for the future are to go into the union and then hopefully become a lineman out of that. But if not, then just work with my uncle right out of high school.
I plan on attending RCC in the fall and pursuing English education.
Go to college eventually, eat some good food, and sleep a lot.
So after I graduate, I'm going to go to San Bernardino Valley College, where I'm going to go train to be an aircraft mechanic, and then after I graduate from there, I'm going to go move to London, work for British Airways, doing service under aircraft.
I am going to Cal State Monterey Bay to get my bachelor's in marine science and hopefully become a marine biologist.
I plan on joining California National Guard, going to boot camp, then going to trade school and getting my welder certificate, and driving trucks for a little bit, and going to a 4-year college.
My plans for the future are attending Crafton Hills College and then transfer to Loma Linda University to go to medical school and become an obstetrician.
I want to be an influencer and also become an interviewer and interview as much people as I can.
I plan to go to college in Northern California. I'm in between colleges right now, but I want to study political science and eventually become a political journalist.
My plans for the future are to join the Marine Corps and learn how to weld.
After graduation, I'm going to the United States Naval Academy to play Division I water polo. I hope to study aerospace engineering, and when I commission into the Navy, I would like to either fly or do explosive ordnance disposal.
My plans for the future are to attend California State University San Marcos, and I will be majoring in biological sciences to ultimately become a pediatrician.
My plans for the future is to go to UC Davis to study neurobiology, physiology, and behavior, and my ultimate goal is to be a pediatrician.
After high school, I plan to attend the University of Alabama and become a speech therapist.
My plans for the future is to attend UC Davis for a human biology major, then go to med school and become an emergency room doctor.
My plans for the future are to attend school and become an ultrasound tech. After I graduate, I'm going to attend Loma Linda University and I'm going to become an ultrasound tech.
After high school, I'm going to go to Crafton for 2 years
and then transfer to a university to become a nurse.
Before I go to college, Cypress College or Crafton to learn photography.
My plan for the future is to attend University of St. Thomas, Houston to play volleyball and get a nursing degree.
My plans for the future is once I get out of here, I immediately want to start job hunting. Probably going into like a retail or something like that, just to get on my feet.
I plan on going to the University of Redlands to get a degree in communication science and disorders to work with children in speech pathology.
I plan on pursuing photography, specifically in real estate, in the future.
I plan to go to Crafton for as long as I can and then transfer to a 4-year and hopefully become a teacher.
Firefighter.
I like to shout out my mom. Hi, Mom. I like to shout out my dad, my brother, sister, Coach Price, always pushing me, and teammates and just friends.
I'd like to shout out Landon Petty, Dominic Pacheco, and my mom and dad for always helping me, and probably also Axel, Tyler, and Ian.
I want to shout out to my parents who were supportive of me, my teachers, especially Mr. Pitcher, who taught me about video production, my YouTube channel, you should go subscribe to that, and Donald Trump.
I'd like to shout out my mom, my dad, my brother, and my best friend in the whole wide world, aka my sister, and just my whole family.
I'd like to shout out my parents, my sister Reese, my grandparents, my dog Tucker, and Ryan Reynolds.
I want to shout out my coach, Scott Salinas. I want to shout out Mr. Paul, Eddie Tovar, Logan McLean, the GOAT, Leche, also known as John.
I would like to shout out Ms. Gavigan. She retired last year, my favorite teacher ever. And I would like to shout out my mom and my stepdad.
I would just like to give a shout out to Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior, my mom, Martha Weddis, Cisneros, Stacy Tovar, my dad, Mr. Paul, Jimmy Buffett, Kanye West, Joseph Beltran, Joey Valens, Joey Beltran, Rolling Guy, C#, album dropping soon, Logan McLean, Phil Roy, Chase Medina, my dog Mocha, Anthony Sanchez, Evan Samperio, Damian Stout, Kevin Repa, Charlie Thrash, my uncle Oscar, Mr. K, LeBron James, Emily Martin Chuba, Salome Demis Harris, Jude Morris, Xavier Perez, Alba Dariana Garcia, Alba, Joey Newbury, Jack Fry, Cooper Fry, Jacob Golick, Matthew Brooks, Carl Morris, Big Mike when he was cool, Seb Eves, Zeke McMillan, the one time me and Joseph played in Smoop Town, the boats we stole, the school decks I stole, the stolen sides of my room, Ian Morrell, 311, the Eagles, Creed, Evan's dad, Tianka, Puff Daddy, R. Kelly, Drake, Cardi B, and last but not least, my girlfriend Sable.
I'd like to shout out my parents for always supporting me, my amazing teachers, especially Mr. Young for encouraging me to keep on studying music, my amazing friends, and the rest of my family.
I want to shout out my coaches, my mom, my dad, and my sister.
I'd like to shout out my mom, my dad, my sisters, and all my amazing friends.
I also want to shout out my other friends, Harrison Saluja, Cutler Henry, Bailey Wrestler, Dean Kirkland, Connor White, Taylor Van, Sean Reese, Linda Luna, not Linda Luna.
To my family, my mom and my dad, who have always been there and pushed me to do my best in school.
I would like to shout out my family, first of all. Seattle, I see you. And then Miss Hickey and Miss Rosevere. Love you guys. You guys have shaped my years here. Thanks.
Yeah, my baby daddy, Brody Vias, right here.
I'd like to shout out my mom, my dad, my sisters, my grandparents, Sienna, and Damien.
I would like to make a shout out about my family, the aides, and classmates.
I'd like to shout out to my parents, God, and all my friends, Austin, Gil, and Martinez.
I like to shout out my mom, my dad, my friends, Gilberto, Trent, and Martinez, and just everyone else.
I'd like to shout out my aunt, my uncle, my mom, my grandma, May, Tianka, Emily, Izzy, Dee, Miss Williams, and Miss Reed.
Tony, my bestest friend, Logan McLean, Logan when he used to have long hair, Joseph Beltran, Joey Valens, Joey Newbury, Mr. Jervis, Mr. Lewis.
I like to shout out my mom and my dad for always being there for me and supporting me, my little sister Brianna, my dogs, and all of my incredible, amazing friends.
I would like to shout out my parents for always being there when things got tough, and my friends for just being the best people I know.
I shout out my mom, my dad, all my siblings, my Nina, Curry, and Flight.
I'd like to shout out my parents, Clarissa, Nathan, May, Emily, Dee, Renee, Belinda, JJ, and Mr. Pitcher.
I'd like to make a shout out to everyone who's helped me get this far in my life, and 2 of my friends, Prince and Ghost, who have taken the time out of their lives to come to graduation today.
I want to shout out everybody in Mr. Pitcher's class at lunch for being goofballs.
I would like to shout out all of my friends that have helped me get this far, and my family, and also my 2 friends from Colorado that decided to make their way over here.
I'd like to shout out my parents, my brother, my boyfriend, and his family.
That one security guard, Brett, the other security guard, he said I was cool. He said I sound funny. That made me happy. I want to shout out the guy who's been parking in my spot in A-Lot sometimes every time I show up late for first. And then he parks all the way over, so he's in the spot in front too, and it's giving me a bad reputation because people are going to think that's me.
Shout out to my mom, my dad, my aunt, my uncle, my other aunt, my other uncle.
So your family?
And the uncle from the other side. Cousins.
So your family?
My cousin Cameron Doherty.
So your whole family?
My cousin Cameron Doherty. There's Nikki. Shout out Nikki. The South of English group chat for playing Roblox and Minecraft. There's Evan. Shout out Evan. Always coming out to the baseball games and all. He's the go. And yeah.
I like to shout out Coach Price, my mom, my family, Evan Samperio, Joseph Valens. And then
and my mom and dad too. I love you guys.
Yeah, and that's all she wrote.
Shout out Mr. Simon. He's a really good teacher, even though I've only had him just this year. Mr. Holton, even though I sucked at math, he was still a good teacher. And also Mrs. Allen as well, same thing. And then Mr. Smith, he was a good teacher.
Shout out Miss Gavigan. I know she's not here anymore, but love her to death.
Shout out Mr. Pendry. I love you.
I like to shout out Evan Samperio, Kevin Lewis, my family, my friends, Jesus Christ, amen.
To all the friends that I made, shout out all of them. And in specific, shout out J2 Cole from the O and Seth Stevens.
My dad for always pushing me. My mom for being there. I'd also like to shout out my little brother, because if I didn't have a little brother, I wouldn't be pushing myself to be a good role model for him. Also, give glory to God, because without God, I can't do anything.
I would like to make shout outs to my mom, my dad, Alicia, S&D, my siblings, Olivia, Giovanni, Brian, AJ, and my best friends, Joy and Casp, and of course, my Linder Queen.
Shout out to God, shout out to my family, and shout out to everybody who supported me.
I'd like to shout out my aunt, my uncle, my 2 sisters, my girlfriend, and my 2 friends, Christian and Jacob.
I would like to shout out my mom, my grandparents, Liam and Drake, Soleil, Mr. Pitcher, Tianka, Emily, Colin, Dee, JJ, Renee, and Faith.
I'd like to shout out my mom, my stepdad, both my sisters, Kirsten and Lauren, and a shout out to God for making me get as far as I have.
Mr. Dalzell, the GOAT himself, Mr. Young, I think Kirk, and that one lunch lady with the cool hair, she's pretty chill.
I'll make a shout out to my friends Gabriel, Addie, Max, my parents, my grandparents, my cousin, Jack, Brandon, and Asta.
I'd like to shout out my brother Brandon Follett, and then Eddie Tovar, and Logan McLean.
I want to shout out Chase Medina. I want to shout out Eddie's cousin Angie.
Shout out to my parents who helped me through this journey. Shout out my siblings who I will always love no matter what. And shout out to all my friends and everybody I've ever met for giving me something to go off of and guiding me.
First off, Jesus, of course. Everyone at my church that I go to, Sanctuary Church. My mom, my sister, my drama teacher, Mr. Lewis, and all of my friends.
First of all, God, always. And then I would like to make a shout out to my parents for always providing for me and supporting me through everything. And all my friends for always having my back and always being there for me.
I'd like to shout out my mom and dad, my brother, and my grandparents. They've always been there for me. My number one supporters in everything I do, school, everything in my personal life. I couldn't be where I am today without them. So thank you guys.
Shout out to my mom, my dad, and the founders of the Best Buddies Club.
I'd like to shout out my mom, my dad, and my little sister Claire. They've been supportive my entire life, and I wouldn't be here without them.
I'd like to make a shout out to my best friends, my mom, my dad, and my big brother Maxwell, who have always been there for me these past 4 years.
Shout out to my family and friends who have been there with me throughout everything.
I would like to shout out my mom, Meredith, for being there and helping me through absolutely everything.
Shout out to my mom, my dad, my sisters, Ruth, Merriman, Becky, and shout out to all my friends and everyone who's helped me throughout the way.
I want to shout out Mr. Pressler for helping me through just school in general. I want to shout out my friends, Steve Sanchez, who I'm never going to pay back, but I want to shout him out. I want to shout out Dylan Mann. I want to shout out my mom and my dad, especially, my brother, my sister, and my online friends.
I want to shout out my family for always being there and supporting me. I want to shout out Mr. Pressler for just being an amazing teacher. Then I want to shout out Miss Fry for teaching the best chemistry class.
Shout out to Mr. Kennedy and Miss Murch for getting me through this year. I'd like to shout out Mr. Kennedy and Miss Gavigan and all my friends and family.
I want to shout out my mom, my sister, Robert, him, myself for learning English in 7th grade, my cats Vamp and Juno.
I want to shout out my friends, my family, the homies of Endemia. Especially I want to shout out my grandpa. He's everything and I look up to him every day.
Lacey Montgomery.
I'd like to shout out my grandma, my mom, my dad, my brother, my little sister, and my girlfriend, my friends.
I would like to shout out to my parents and my family for just helping me and encouraging me to get all the way here. I would like to shout out to Mr. Paul, and once again, shout out to Games Club, and then just all of my friends and our beloved Comedy Sports Improv team.
I'd like to shout out my 3 best friends, Evelyn, Michelle, and Candace.
I mean, shout out maybe Mommy, Doye, and my perfect woman.
I would like to shout out Miss Cheek, Miss Richter, and Miss Urain for being my top 3 teachers this year. And I would also like to shout out my parents who have been supporting me since day one.
I want to make an amazing shout out to my girlfriend and my parents. They're my biggest supporters.
I would like to shout out my dad and my stepmom, Scylla. I love you both very much. All my little siblings, Dean, Cruz, Lila, and Lily. You're all my biggest supporters. My big sister, Caitlin. She's my best friend. And last but not least, my boyfriend, Connor. Woo!
I'd like to shout out my parents, my brother, all my friends, and my girlfriend for helping me along.
My pets. And my pets.
I'd like to shout out my mom, my stepdad, my brother, my sister, my favorite teachers, Miss Shingelian, Miss Andrews, Mr. Mobley, Miss Luna, and then my friends Jose, Marion, Melissa, Maddie, Bailey, Joseph, and Dylan.
I would like to shout out my mom, my grandma, and my aunt, the 3 women who taught me how to stay strong, and they've always supported me.
I'd like to shout out my mom, my brothers, my girlfriend, and my friends that were always there for me throughout high school.
I would like to shout out my mom because she was always with me, and I want to shout out all my friends, and I also want to shout out True.
I would like to shout out my mom, my dad, for always being there to support me throughout these 4 years. Also want to shout out my friend Brooke, Michelle, and my friend Holden.
I would like to make shout outs to my family, my friends, my counselor, Mrs. Parasits, and my girlfriend.
I'd like to shout out my mom for always supporting me, my dad for always being such a hard worker and inspiring me, and my sister for always being there for me, and then to my best friend, Brooke Smith.
I'd like to shout out my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, my mother, my father, my counselor, Ms. Parasits, and my sister.
I would like to make a shout out to both of my parents and my grandma for always being there for me.
I'd like to shout out my parents, my sister, Jesus, all my friends here at YHS, a couple teachers, Mr. Mobley, Miss Andrews, and Mr. Mathers specifically, and a couple more. Oh, Mr. Pressler. And I'd also like to shout out, I already said Jesus, huh? And I'll also shout out Matt Stone and Trey Parker.
I would like to say hi to all my friends and family. I did it.
Mrs. Paul. I want to shout out Eddie Tovar one more time. Who else do I care about? everyone. I want to shout out all you seniors, because we're one big family. We did it.
I always knew this day would come. We'd be standing one by one with our future in our hands. So many dreams, so many plans. I always knew after all these years there'd be laughter, there'd be tears, but never thought I'd walk away with so much joy but so much pain. And it's so hard to say goodbye, but yesterday's gone, we gotta keep moving on. I'm so thankful for the moment, so glad I got to know you. The times that we had, I'll keep like a photograph and hold you in my heart forever. I'll always remember you. Another chapter in the book. Can't go back, but you can look. And there we are on every page. Memories I'll always save. Up ahead, only open doors. Who knows what we're heading towards? I wish you love, I wish you luck. For you the world just opens up. But it's so hard to say goodbye. Yesterday's gone, we gotta keep moving on. I'm so thankful for the moment, so glad I got to know you. Slipping through my fingers all the time. Sometimes I wish that I could freeze the picture and save it from the funny tricks of time. Slipping through my fingers.
I wish somebody would have told me, babe, someday these will be the good old days. All the love you forget, and all these these reckless nights you'll regret. Someday soon your whole life's gonna change. You'll miss the magic of these good old days.
I was thinking about the band, I was thinking about the fans. We were underground, loading merch in that 12-passenger van, in a small club in Minnesota, and the snow outside of First Ave. I just wanted my name in the star.